Hi, and welcome once again to Stone Soup.
The world according to sci-fi geeks.
We're going to talk about movies. I know one of these days we got to talk about books again. We'll get to that. But this week we finally got to see the third Transformers movie.
Yes.
Yes, Dark of the Moon.
Yeah.
It's called that because something happens on the dark side of the moon. I'm not going to tell you what because I don't remember, but it was something important.
A ship crashed there.
Oh, right. Oh, spoiler.
Sorry, yes.
Yeah.
Well, you got that much from the trailers.
Yeah. Basically, because it starts on the dark side of the moon with this crash, and things go downhill from there.
Yes.
It is a much, much, much better movie than the second one.
Yeah.
That's damning with faint praise, but it's actually a good movie in and of itself.
Yes.
Shia LaBeouf is always LaBeouf.
I think it's LaBeouf.
Is adorable as always.
Yes.
Which is, it's kind of a shame his private life's kind of screwed up, but he just needs to lay off the sauce and he'd be fine. But
I think he's working on ever since that car accident that wrecked his hand.
you'd think. But anyway,
Anyway.
it is a very good movie. I had problems telling the good guys and the bad guys. I kept leaning over and saying,
Yeah.
which robot is that? You
Yeah.
know?
There's a small issue here. I don't know why, but with several, at least of the background characters, I don't know if it was laziness or maybe the artist just forgot. But they didn't have their proper unique paint jobs. So it's like, wait, who's who? And in the cartoon, at least, all of them would have their particular symbol. So you could at least say, okay, that's an Autobot, that's a Decepticon. Although they do have them in the movie, they're much smaller and much subtler. So it's like, wait,
So
who is that?
Harder to find?
Yes.
Okay, see, I wouldn't even have recognized them unless somebody pointed out. See that symbol?
Yes.
But it's
All right, personally, I would
it's got actual story,
yes.
which the second one didn't seem to have.
No, the second one was just one big long chase scene. The first one was, for the most part, one big long chase scene, but at least it was amusing. The second one...
Well, the first one was introducing the bots, introducing Sam Witwicky.
Yes, and his family.
And his family, and the connection between the two.
Uh-huh.
I bought a car. Turned out to be a giant robot. Who knew?
Who? Yep.
Oh, no, giant alien robot. Who
Who
knew? Yeah. But...
No, I have been a Transformers fan since I was a kid. Yes, that's right. Little girls watch Transformers too. I know the advertisers don't think so, but we did.
I was the mom of two Transformers fans. I was usually in the other room, cleaning, doing dishes, making dinner.
Whatever. But,
Whatever.
girls like bots too, goddammit. I give my eye teeth to have some Autobot insignia earrings or a hair tie.
That would be ever so cool.
Wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But no, Transformers is a boy's toy, so everything is aimed at the boys. Give me a break. Anyway, getting back on topic. This actually has a plot, which is a big improvement. Now, one thing I think they need to do is actually focus more on the Transformers themselves, because all three movies have focused very much on the humans. And I appreciate that we need the humans to connect to the robots, but not to the exclusion of the robots. Part of the point here is that we have these alien robots that are as alive as we are. They have their own individual personalities, their own lives, which are admittedly right now trapped in a war. But we need to focus a little more on that, more on the, see their lives, their society, because they're the Transformers, damn it.
Do they have a society now? I mean, all that's left of them is...
Granted, but that could be an interesting part of the plot, them trying to hold on to what little culture they have
got. It's what we'd be doing if we had a tiny portion of humanity left.
Exactly.
On an alien planet trying to survive amongst giant robots.
Yeah.
Yeah, see? That'd be a little... Now, one of my beefs would be with the female lead. Why is it more important for her to be stunning than to be able to act? I don't get that.
A very good question.
She was a lovely girl. She couldn't act her way out of a freaking paper bag.
Yeah.
And Shia is terrific. He always has been since he was a little kid.
Yes.
So he kind of had to carry her, but that's okay. He's a gentleman in that regard. He can manage it, and he did.
They
But it would have been. But there's this one scene with her and Megatron. Yes, and she needs to be forceful and convincing, not just deliver the lines.
Yeah.
And she wasn't.
I mean, they had to replace their female lead because apparently Megan Fox dropped out at the last minute, so they had to do a fast rewrite. Which
She kind of badmouthed Michael Bay, and you don't badmouth the director
if
or
you
the
want to keep
producer
the job.
if you want to keep the job. I don't know what the details were. I just know that she was kind of sort of fired. She says she quit. They say they fired her, but at the last minute they had to do a rewrite and get a new girl. They did a real good job on the rewrite.
Yes.
It's just, we broke up, I got a new girl, and
Hey,
this is the one. I love her, you know.
Yeah. Bumblebee remains cute.
Yes, Bumblebee. That's my car.
Yes.
But Mom and Dad come by. It's too bad their motorhome didn't turn out to be a transformer.
That would have been funny.
That would have been so cool. You'll have to leave now. I have to transform. Oh, all right. Don't ruin the dinner. I'll try. That would have been great.
That could have been hilarious. Shia looks over, realizes that's an Autobot insignia on the steering wheel. Mom, Dad, we know. What? His name is whatever.
Yeah. That would
Hello?
have been fun.
Hello? Whoa. How did you? He volunteered. Okay. Yeah, again.
But we did enjoy this movie enormously.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you were hesitating, you haven't seen it yet, and you were thinking about,
go ahead, give it a
because the
chance.
last one sucked.
Go ahead, give it a chance.
This one definitely does not suck. It is
It has
definitely worth
the
the money.
added amusement bonus that our new head bad guy is voiced by Leonard Nimoy. This is amusing in a couple of levels.
This cracked us up, actually.
Well, I think, of course, Star Trek, but also for those of us who watched the animated, he was the voice of the lead bad guy Galvatron in the animated Transformers movie. So it's like,
This was not Galvatron.
No,
this
this is
guy's
somebody
name
else.
was Sentinel Prime.
Yes.
Yes.
Turns out that Prime is a rank, not a name. That's an interesting detail they ought to explore.
It was a rank in Stargate too.
True.
Yeah. See. But apparently he was what's our Prime's?
Optimus.
Optimus Prime's boss or something.
Yeah.
Back on their planet, when they had a planet before they scorched it into a cinder.
There's
Now, one problem I have is the way these people think. And they are people. I don't care if they're mechanical. They're people.
Yes.
They turned their own planet into a freaking cinder. So they ran off and came here, and now they're going to fight their war on our planet and turn it into a freaking cinder. I object.
Yes. Well, the Autobots don't want to do that. It's the Decepticons. The
Well, the Decepticons are assholes.
On defeating the Autobots. They don't care what else gets destroyed along the way.
No, they don't. So, again,
yeah, there's a lot of
it's a
that can
good
explore
movie.
here.
Go see it. All the performances are fab. The writing is much, 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 much better, except for what's her face.
Yeah. Carly is the character's name.
Carly, yeah. So, but
But,
you
oh
will
well.
enjoy it. And for those of you who are male, Carly is at least worth looking at. So
That's something, I'm sure.
That's our review of Transformers 3, Dark of the Moon. Last night, in honor of the coming holiday, because tomorrow is Halloween, we watched Alien.
Yes.
Also because we just got the Blu-ray.
It's
We
the
have
first
not
time-
we have not seen Alien for a number of years. I couldn't even tell you how many.
Yes. Now, we'd seen it multiple
Long
times
time.
before then, but then we just sort of stopped.
This movie
You know how it
actually
is.
originally came out shortly before she was born.
Yep. So it's old.
So it's old. It's really old. Now, one, it actually holds up pretty darn well.
For the most part, yes.
for the most
Visually,
part.
it's still great.
Visually, it's stunning.
Yes.
The problem is,
Yeah.
I know. Do we always have to point out the problems?
Well, it'd be a little
what the
boring
hell
if
else
we
are we,
didn't.
yeah, what are we going to talk about?
Here's the thing.
Here's
Alien itself is a horror movie. It is a sci-fi setting, but it is a horror movie.
Hence, Halloween.
Yeah.
It's a good movie for Halloween.
But once you've seen it enough times that you're no longer cringing in fear and you can really pay attention to the details, you
With
start
your brain.
Yes.
And you're a science fiction aficionado. You start
start-
noticing what crappy science fiction it is.
Yeah. There's some problems, shall we say. Technological problems.
And
that is the
biological
tech.
problems.
Yeah. What shall we start with?
Oh, let's start with the tech.
Okay. For one thing, I'm sure you all know the story, the spaceship that finds the crashed ship that has the monster on it. Now, the thing is, we have the spaceship, the Nostromo. It's essentially the cab of a semi-trailer. That's perfectly fine. That makes sense as much as anything.
They even leave the trailer part up in the sky when they go down to the planet because they got the distress signal.
But the thing is, you got this tiny little crew, like 6 people. They spend most of their time in cryo sleep. Okay, that's also fine. But the ship has all these big open areas, big open hallways that they wouldn't need.
It is a honking huge ship for no apparent reason.
If you want to say it's because the engines are enormous, okay, that's fine, but they didn't say that. And the thing is, if you're
The
not
engines probably are enormous.
yeah.
But
The thing is, with a spaceship, you wouldn't just leave the hallways open. There'd be hatches that would close. That way, if something punctured through, you wouldn't lose all the air.
And see, we know this because we have submarines, and submarines are in an atmosphere that is as hard to live in as space.
Yep.
Oh,
For slightly different reasons.
different reasons.
But you're still
I mean,
just as dead.
You might actually survive 5 or 6 minutes if your submarine broke down and you were actually able to get out of it underneath the ocean. My husband just shook his head. He's ex-Navy. I'm ex-Navy. We're here to tell you it's a hostile environment. And it's at least as hostile as space. And there's monsters in the ocean. We call them whales.
Yes,
and
sharks.
And sharks and other
giant
things.
Squids. Nasty, sharp, pointy teeth.
Yes, with nasty, sharp, pointy teeth. I don't know if the squid do, but,
Well,
but
they
there
got
are
beaks, I think.
things that will attack you.
But
Whereas in space, what are you worried about? No air, lack of pressure,
and
meteorites.
impossible cold.
and possible cold. And you're going to be dead in about a minute and a half, maybe 3, at tops. And it's not going to be pleasant.
Anyway, the
But
setup
the
don't make
point
sense.
is, in either one, you have sections of the ship, and they are closed off all the time, unless you need to pass from one to the other, for safety's sake. If one, space stone that big rips through your ship, and your ship's wide open,
You're all gonna die.
You're all going to die. All the air is going to rush out. You want to see some explosive decompression? Let me tell you. Yeah.
And also, there's this scene where one of the, would the engineer be the right word? Mechanic? The two grunts. The two grunts.
Two grunts, mechanics.
One of them is wandering through the bay where they have their landing gear, and there's water dripping down, lots of it, and they don't explain where it comes from. A little later, literally,
And he's not alarmed by this.
No, he accepts it.
He stands there, takes his hat off, and lets it drip over his face because he's all kind of hot and it's kind of cool water, and it feels kind of good. So you know that this is not something to be
Abnormal.
alarmed about. I mean, this is the guy who fixes stuff.
But they don't explain where the water comes from. In the next scene, they make a reference to the cooling system, so you can deduce that it's condensation from that. But they
I
never
missed
say-
the reference. I never heard it.
But they don't really explain it. And even so, you wouldn't just let that much water be falling down all over the place. Water and electricity do not mix. You would find a way to contain it.
Plus, there's the waste of water, the slippery deck, and a few other things. You just don't do that. As my husband said, you recycle everything when you're in an enclosed environment. Everything. Your air, your water, everything. Anything you can't, you jettison, but you do it with purpose.
Also, when they land on the planet, it damages the ship, but they don't actually say why. From what we can see, other than the fact that one landing leg landed on a large rock, it was a fairly soft landing. So why do things just suddenly rupture?
I mean, come on, it's got to be a tougher ship than that.
Seriously.
Since it's made to land. We're going to build this ship that's supposed to go out into space, do mining, come back with truckloads of crap,
I think of the
and it can only land on a flat paved surface.
Wait.
What's wrong with this picture?
And that's just the technological problems. Then you get to the biological problems of
with
the alien
critter itself.
Look, it looks awesome.
It looks awesome. It does, and it's creepy and horrible and spooky. But here's the thing: in about 24 to 48 hours, it goes from this big, well, maybe this big, to 7.5 feet tall. And as near as we can tell, it has consumed nothing.
Which makes no
I mean,
sense.
it may have hollowed out, what was the first guy's
Cain.
name? Cain.
Yeah, they may have eaten some of him.
Yeah, it may have eaten him, but it was still only this big when it came out of him. So what's it consuming? Where's it getting the calories to grow like that?
I mean, all it would have taken was one line about something broken to our food supply. The food bay has been broken into and emptied. But even so,
it's an entirely different sort of life form.
7 feet?
Yeah. I mean, it's a different life form than we are. Its blood is apparently acid. But come on,
acid.
anything that gets that big has to have had something to grow on, something more substantial than air.
Yes. And in
And
2
if it
days,
didn't, and in 2 days, give me a
Holy
break.
crap.
I raise Great Danes. I can tell you how long it takes to get from 2 pounds to 100 pounds.
Yep.
And it ain't going to happen in 3 freaking days.
Now, one thing they could
And if
have
it
done,
did, they should have at least said something.
Yeah.
Holy crap, how did it get that big? What the hell has it been eating? Oh, my God.
Yeah.
What did we have in the...
then they check the food bay and find out it's been emptied.
For that matter, we don't know what they're hauling.
True.
So they said...
Well, ore. They call it
Ore.
20 million pounds of ore.
Ore. That's right, it's ore. Well,
But
last time I heard ore doesn't have any calorie content.
Nope. Lots of minerals, though. But
I'm going to get that girl. So,
But one
yeah.
thing they could have done was have it that they try and find it. They think they kill it somehow. They go back into cryosleep, and then a few months later, Mother, the computer on the ship, wakes them up saying, "Emergency!" And it turns out there it is, alive and well and 7 freaking feet tall.
And it's eaten up everything they've got, you know, and then some.
And it's been trying to figure out how to get into those little freezer packs. Come on, I know there's a creamy center here.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe it's even eaten a couple of them. Although Mother should have woken them up before that.
Yes.
But
yeah,
and
look, it's a great scary movie. But if you can't turn off your brain enough to realize that, wait, that doesn't make sense logically.
Yeah, see, I got this problem. I am a technological newt. I mean, tech does not make sense to me. And yet I'm sitting there thinking, this is really a stupid design. See, marry an engineer, see what it does to your brain.
Yes. Now, why are the spacesuits venting? This isn't scuba
yes.
diving.
My husband was like, spacesuits don't vent. And even
Again,
pointed out,
you recycle everything, including the
air. Well, not only that, if your spacesuit vents and you're out in space doing EVA, that's extravehicular activity, and the sucker vents, it's going to push you. And if it's coming out of their freaking head, so it's going whoosh, and you're getting pushed down. Yeah, you really wanted that, didn't you?
No.
Space suits don't vent. I don't care if it looks cool. It's stupid. Stupid is never cool.
Yes. Well.
Oh, I'm a mean, cranky lady.
Yes. Well, you have some teenagers, but
the follow. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. The interesting thing is that for all its faults, Alien still is a good movie, and it happens to have been given one of the very best sequels I've ever seen made.
Yeah. First off, Alien did have a terrific cast. Of course, they all got dead, but except Sigourney Weaver. The follow-up. We haven't watched this Blu-ray yet, but we've seen the movie a number of times, including the extended version. And it is probably the best sequel I have ever seen. Well, along with T2, as my son says, and they were both by James Cameron.
Hey.
And the Harry Potter movies.
Well, yes.
But that doesn't count because that's different. Yes. But anyway, the thing is...
it was a logical progression of the story. Too many sequels would just redo what was done in the first movie, and usually not as well.
Well, James Cameron has this genius for taking an action-adventure story and making a story underneath it, a really good human story underneath it. In this case, it was, of course, Newt. Ripley and Newt and the Marines and so on and so forth. I mean, there's just a lot going on, and it's all really, really good. And, I mean, this is where Sigourney Weaver broke a barrier. She got an Oscar nomination for this performance.
You know, sci-fi movies usually don't get any sort of Oscar nods except for special effects.
Yeah.
Apparently, they're just not artsy enough.
Apparently not.
But, you know...
You know what it is? For the most part, too much science fiction. The people who vote for the Oscar, they simply don't comprehend it. They can't get past the science fiction to the people.
That's
really good science fiction is about the people.
Now, there are 2 other Alien movies, though. Alien 3 and Alien 4. They sucked.
Yeah, they sucked. They sucked
forget
so
them.
bad, we're not even going to talk about them because they sucked. They
That's all
sucked
that
the
need to
big
be
green
said.
burrito. They were horrible.
They
were
sucked
ghastly
and blue.
at the same time. It was horrible.
If you haven't seen these movies yet, watch the first 2 and stop.
And just
for your own sake, your own sanity, stop.
Yeah, just for your own sanity, like she says. You don't need to see these terrible, ghastly, horrible, god-awful things.
Now,
Even if Sigourney Weaver is in them and is brilliant, the movies
still suck.
The writing is so horrible. Just forget them.
Yeah.
There, we talked about those enough.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, one thing. The third movie, what they should have done was actually have somebody try to figure out where did that original crashed alien spaceship come from and why did it have eggs in its hull. That could have been an interesting story.
Yeah, well, I mean, was that an invasion? Basically, they didn't know they'd picked up a queen and she laid all those eggs. Did they actually go somewhere and harvest those eggs for something?
To sell or
The one
whatever?
thing we know is that the pilot, because his skeleton was still there, was enormous.
And apparently still killed by a face hugger.
Yeah. I mean, he rip out, apparently his heart's the same place ours is.
More or less. But he had a hole in his chest.
But I mean, he must have been like, what, 20 feet tall or something?
Something like that, yeah.
That would have been fascinating. What was he? What was his race? Where is his race?
Yep.
He's a Na'vi. Whoa, whoa. Well, whatever. Anyway, see, now that we've got CGI, we can do a lot more stuff. So go get them. Somebody who can really write, like James Cameron and stuff, go write that movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I guess that about covers it.
I think that covers everything. So,
Bye-bye.